On this video, we're going to cover how to multiply binomials. So we're going to go ahead and get started with remembering what binomials are. So binomials comes from the prefix bi, which means two. So a binomial will be a polynomial that has two terms. So all the polynomials that we're going to be multiplying will have two terms, as you see in the two examples that we have here. So the inside of each of the parentheses is a binomial since it has two terms. So when we see the word product, that's implying that we're going to be multiplying. So if the question is asking you to find the product of the binomials, it just means that we're going to be multiplying those two binomials that you have there. And we're going to be using this method here called the area model. Why? Because it allows you to double check that in fact you multiplied all the terms and also that you multiply them correctly. So it's really easy to check if you're multiplying it correctly. So since we have a binomial times a binomial, we're going to split our area model into four different boxes because we're going to get four different terms by multiplying these two binomials here. So I've highlighted the two binomials that we have. We're going to put one across the top, and it doesn't matter which binomial you choose. You could choose the inside of the first parentheses or the second parentheses. You should get the same result. So let's number each of the boxes here, 1, 2, 3, so it's easy to follow along as I refer to each of the boxes. So we start with box 1, and we multiply the top of box 1 with the side of box 1. In other words, in this problem here, I'm going to be multiplying 2r times r. And if you recall back the rules of multiplying the same base, we just add the exponent. So if I multiply 2r times r, I get 2r to the second power, or the same as 2r squared. Now to get the inside of the second box, I multiply the top, which is negative 5, times the side, which is still r. r times negative 5r, r times negative 5 would give you negative 5r. And then to get box 3, we multiply the top, which is 2r, times the side, which is now 5. So 2r times 5 is 10r. And lastly, to get box 4, we multiply the top of box 4, which is negative 5, with the side of box 4, which is 5. So we're multiplying negative 5 times 5, and that gives us negative 25. So we have multiplied all the terms by each other, and we end up getting our result, which is the inside of the box. Now inside here, what I've highlighted, you can still combine these terms because they're like terms. They both have the same variable and the variable has the same exponent, which is 1. So our answer will be the inside of the area model, so what we get when we multiply, but combining the like terms. Usually your like terms will be what's inside box 2 and box 3. So the diagonal there would be your like terms. So if I combine 10r plus negative 5r, it's the same thing as saying 10r minus 5r, and that gives us 5r. So that's how I'm writing my answer here. We write it in standard form, which means usually box number 1 will be our first term. We combine our like terms, which is box 2 and 3. We get the middle term, and box number 4 will be our last term. And that's it, folks. That's what your answer will be when you multiply those two binomials. So let's give it another try with the second example. And we're going to set it up just like we did in the first one. Let's number up our boxes 1 through 4. And we're going to choose this time the first parentheses to be across the side and the second parentheses to be across the top. So let's number those boxes. Zoom into box 1. So box 1, remember, is the top times the side. So in this case, 2x times negative x. Same scenario, we have x times x, so we get x squared. So usually your box number 1 will be your variable square. usually, not all the time. And box number 2 is the top, which is -3 times the side, which is -x. So that gives us -3x. Just a little run through to get box 1 and 2. We do the top times the first row. So now let's do the top times the second row. So to get box number 3, I multiply 2x, which is the top, and the side, which is 1. So that gives us 2x. And to get box number 4, we're going to multiply -3 times 1, and that gives us -3. Again, if we look at box number 2 and 3, we realize that we have like terms here. I can combine -3x with 2x. So let's write our answer. Our first term is box 1, which is -2x squared. Let's combine our like terms to get the middle term. So -2x plus 2x will be -x. Or you can also write it as -1x. It's essentially the same thing. And our last term, which is -3. So you have seen 2 examples of multiplying two binomials.